What a great time to start. Okay. Hi, Sandra. Good to see your
Hi,
smiling face.
thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just tell us a bit about your experience.
I've been on the patch now, let's see, about 3 weeks, maybe 3.5 weeks, going into 3.5 weeks. So within the first 3 days, I actually, because I was taking the X39, the Eon, and the Alavita at night. And so for the first 3 days, my pain levels went down considerably. I just wasn't waking up achy every morning like I normally would. And I'm one of these people that if I keep moving, I don't seem to have as much pain. But once I lay down to go to after the first 3 days of wearing the patches, I noticed that my pain level went down pretty drastically. I started sleeping through the night, which I haven't done since 2014. I've had issues with sleeping and never took drugs for it, but actually ended up having to take medical marijuana at times to be able to sleep. So I've been finding that taking these patches, I'm sleeping deeper, I'm sleeping longer. I'm not waking up as often in the middle of the night. And if I do wake up, I'm able to go right back to sleep, which has just been unheard of for the past 5 years for me. So that was a big change. And then probably I've been through a lot of health issues in the past several years and went through some major surgeries and all. So I've always felt, well, not always, but I would say in the last 2 to 3 years since my last surgery in 2019, every morning when I'd wake up, I would feel this rush of anxiety in my body, like my whole gut and everything just kind of went into contraction. And I'd have to breathe and just start talking to my body and kind of waking up. And it was like waking up every morning with this kind of sense of anxiety for the day instead of a sense of joy for the day or anticipation or excitement. So, what I noticed after about 7 days is I was waking up without that anxiety. And that was a huge, huge piece for me because that's just been kind of overtaking my life since my last surgery in 2019. So those three things have happened in just the 3 weeks that I've been here or been using this. So I'm grateful and looking forward to trying more patches and seeing what else I can knock out of my health issues.
Oh, wonderful. So happy you're sleeping because sleep is so critically important.
Yeah.
That's when your body does repair and it purges toxins. And I talked to so many people, myself included, when I went through that menopause stuff, I didn't sleep but 2 hours at a time. And it takes its toll. It's terrible,
It does.
terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Sandra.
Yeah.
Do we have anybody else who might want to share their experience?
Am I unmuted now?
You are live. Do you want me? I'll mute you. Go ahead and mute you back. There we go. Okay. Anybody else? Carla, are you perhaps available? Would you want to share your experience?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Um,
Hi, good to see you.
hi. Um, my experience, I've had a lot of experiences, but the most notable for me was I had a hysterectomy, and shortly thereafter, well, actually, they ended up taking 27 lymph nodes when when I had my surgery, and it totally interrupted my lymphatic system. And honestly, I got these for my brother. I didn't even get them for myself, but I ended up with a surplus of them. And so I kind of started using them, not even every day. But it was, I don't even know, maybe a couple months or so later. I honestly don't even know what the timeline was, but I noticed that my ankles were no longer swelling after a long day of being up on my feet. And it was a real awful situation. I have a very busy physical job, and there'd be many days I'd have to come home and sit in the easy chair and tip my feet up and sleep with my feet elevated just to get the swelling down. So yeah, it was probably a couple months in when I realized, oh my gosh, kind of like you with your Benions, Tracy, you don't even think about it. And it's like, oh my gosh, the only difference I was doing was wearing the patches. And so yeah, that's probably been my most life-changing experience with the patches, but I've had a lot of other smaller things I noticed, well, I don't even know if it's smaller, but I know my knees, I tore both my meniscus a few years back, and I was, finding myself stepping downstairs one at a time and being really cautious. And now I live in a townhouse, and I just zip up and down my stairs, and it's not even a big deal anymore, where it used to be I just was very cautious because of the pain. So those two things are the most notable differences I've had in the time that I've been wearing the patches.
So nice. Thank you so much, Carla. Gosh, lymph
Sure.
nodes, aren't those so important? And to get that circulation going again, that's huge. Really big. Thank you guys so much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Jump
got
back over here to the PowerPoint. Okay. So we're real briefly give you a little insight into how this works. And it is so simple. And it's something been around for thousands of years, as I said earlier. But really, it's mimicking Mother Nature. And the inventor of all this is always studying Mother Nature to figure out how nature does what it does. And when the sunshine hits our skin, it triggers our photoreceptors to turn on. And that angle of light communicates with the body, sending that light signal to tell the body to produce vitamin D3. It's not the sunlight making that vitamin D, it is the body doing that. So this mechanism is mimicking that. Very similar to when we have a jaundiced baby. You might know what a jaundiced baby is a young newborn when they are early born and they've got yellow tinted skin because their liver hasn't kicked in yet. And they put them in the sunlight to turn that liver on, right? Same thing, using light to trigger a mechanism in the body to make a difference. So phototherapy can come in many forms. So this on the left is a light pad, very healing, red light therapy, blue light therapy, laser light therapy. That is, again, light, very, very strong, concentrated light there. And then on the far right is an infrared sauna. So these are just different forms. And all of those, have a battery or a cord to a wall. And here's a cool thing about this. The human body is the battery for these. We're just harnessing our own power. And these were developed 20 years ago for the US Navy SEALs. And the inventor, David Schmidt, was working on nuclear submarines and using infrared light to help with natural energy and oxygen supply systems. Jokingly, sitting around a board table, somebody said, gee, you powered up those submarines with your light. Why don't you power up our Navy SEALs? Because we're kicking out a record number. They push their bodies very hard. They live on dark submarines. Their bodies health breakdown, depression, and they're lacking light. And they're relying on stimulants, caffeine, amphetamines. And of course, the amphetamine piece is a big no-no. So that's why they were kicking them out. But these ended up in the hands of the Olympic swim team. So the swim coach at Stanford got these and had some of his swimmers test them. And 6 out of 8 swimmers in 30 days set their best personal time records. And one actually beat a world record after using these. So he knew he had his hands on something pretty great. But when when Michael Phelps won all of those medals in Beijing, he was wearing these patches on his stomach. And a lot of athletes have been using these actually for several years. You can see Serena Williams here on her wrists. She's wearing them. David Beckham wears them on his chest. And there's Michael Phelps with them on his stomach. And we recently heard that Tom Brady says and attributes the regenerative nature of what these patches are to enable him to play football so late in his life. Very few players can play that very physical and very, invasive and injuring type of sport. But in 2019, the founder and owner of this company, David Schmidt, created the first ever patch that allows, or tool of any kind, that allows your own body stem cells to be reactivated. They stay dormant in our body. They basically burn out kind of like a little light bulb. And it's pretty amazing what this can do, but it is patented. This is the only company you're going to get this from. And it is, again, I talked about the light. the angles. It is very safe and it's non-transdermal. So nothing is going into the bloodstream to give a, any sort of reaction. But they've got a lot of clinical trials. This says 80, but there's actually more like 90 by now. This also is very effective at reducing pain and inflammation, and it helps speed wound healing. And I told you earlier, there's certain things we can and can't say, but we're going to show you a lot of people and what their results are, because a picture's worth 1,000 words. But first, we just really quickly want to talk about a timeline, because I don't want everyone to think, we're talking about these radical changes. It's not like the first day you put it on, all of this magic happens, right? And some of us, if we're 50, 60, 70 years old, it's taken us a long time to get what we have. But here's the cool thing. Within the first 24 hours of you using that X39, you have about 4,000 of your genes begin to reset to a younger state. That's really huge, because when you keep the genetics younger, you can keep at bay some of those scary things we might have inherited from our family. 1 to 3 months, we start seeing physical, mental, emotional changes happen. That 3 to 6 month window is when the stem cell phase begins happening at a deep level. And if you wear them longer, and David says we really should wear these 1 month for every decade we are old to reach deep repair. But if you continue beyond that, then you actually get into that age reversal phase. And that's that term regenerative medicine. But they did a study on cardiovascular health and biomarkers with 15 people, and 14 out of 15 on average reduced their biomedical age by about 8 years after 6 months of wearing the X39. So if you did the math on that, that would be, on average about 16 years younger after a year of use. So sign me up for that all day long. I don't want to go forward, I go backwards. So, and we know tonight when we share this information, there's quite a bit of stuff here. And so we just want to give you a really cool website that you can go and investigate further, learn. If you are one of those science people and you really want to see the studies, go to the science section and check it out. And this is a really great way to share with a friend too. Start X39 now. And that is not produced by Lifewave, because they cannot say a lot about, they talk very, very high level because of regulations in our country. But this website does a really good job of sharing more and helping people understand the power of the patch. I love the intro videos. The first video is about 2 minutes, history of light. The next video is about 3 minutes, talks about the importance of stem cells and the race in big pharma. Our pharmaceutical companies have been trying to do what this company did for many, many years. But it works so well because it raises a peptide in your body. And you might not know what a peptide is, but you hear about them in, a lot of skin commercials. They put peptides in skin cream because it's regenerative, it's restorative. But GHK copper peptide is a fountain of youth for our body. And you might remember about 50 years ago, people started wearing copper bracelets. It's because of the scientist, Lauren Picard, who discovered that peptide. Our scientist used his data and continued the investigation further and figured out how to actually allow that peptide to bring back our stem cells. So pretty historical, big time change here in our perspective on regeneration of the body. But this is a section in the website that talks about, the science. This yellow section highlighted is my favorite. It's that age reversal because of that copper peptide. And here's a couple sections talking about lung protection, all it does for lungs, tissues. And then this talks about fast growing cells. And so, this first thing here is talking about compounds that helps change that fast growing cell in the colon. Talks about programmed death for those aging cells. Those are also called zombie cells. You've probably heard of that before. I love the very last bullet point though, resetting, inhibiting fast growing cells in 84 genes. I mean, that's huge. That's a really huge one for my family too, because we've had a lot of that bad C word in our family. And we have a new tool to help counterbalance that. But I love this section because there's doctors here and they're sharing their knowledge and what they're experiencing for their own selves. This lady here, Patty de Blasio, she is a multiple sclerosis patient herself, and this has helped her tremendously. Dr. Pamela over here on the right side, she's a Chinese acupuncturist, and She loves these because she says they really mimic what energy movement and unblocking of blocked energy, that would be pain, very, very similarly to how acupuncture does that. And it's a very nice addition. If you're doing acupuncture, add the patches too. The two together are magic. So I'll show you, like I said, picture tells 1,000 words, and we are limited in what we can and can't say. So you can assess for yourself here about this expedited wound healing in this young snowboarder who had a job interview. And thank goodness his mom had these patches, because that's a pretty quick change. This is scar remodeling and collagen support. This is an open heart surgery wound. And you can see Mother Nature's beautiful healing job, that middle image here. So July to July, 1 year, but 1 month using the X39. Look at how different that scar is. That is the work of collagen filling in and recontouring and remodeling the surface of that in the colorization. This little guy is age 7 from Finland. Poor thing, got his fingers slammed in a door, cut off. The dad and he raced to the hospital, and he took that finger in a baggie of ice and wanted that surgeon to sew it back on. And the surgeon said, no, 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 that's dead. It's not going to grow back. We're going to sew a flap of skin over that and it'll be fine. And the dad insisted, no, I'm told you need to sew this on because I have friends that have these patches that activate stem cells and will regenerate that. And look at that, 2 months later, full feeling sensation and a fingernail back. So that is a changed life. Pretty cool. So bulging discs. I hear of, a lot of people talk about their bulging discs or back pain and what have you. And this on the left is a degenerative spinal cord. And where you see the indentations in what should be a nice smooth spinal cord, where you see it's very thin and breaking down, that's allowing that pain sensation, that bone on bone term. And if you look between T7 and T1, that black literal disc pushing, that is the pain in bulging discs. But if you look at this right image, that's that same patient a few months later. That spinal cord is regenerated and that bulging disc has gone back into position. No more pain. So, potentially a surgery avoided. Who doesn't want to do that? I love this one because I had a neighbor when we were in school, and she had this curvature of her spine, and we had to go shopping and buy her clothes to go over this horrible, horrible brace she had to wear. Poor thing. My heart broke for her. But gosh, if we'd only had these patches, because look at this. This is 4 weeks combination of patches here to help her body relax and realign. Body has the ability to do some pretty incredible things when you give it the right tools. So this is just showing you age reversal. This is Dr. Harmon, who Cami put together a really great age reversal workshop. Gosh, almost a month ago now. And this is him after 14 months. He looks like Grandpa on the left, and I call him Hot Dude on the right. But a whole lot of great things happened because of these patches involving his heart. And he'd had a right branch blockage in his heart. These patches enabled his own body to regenerate that. And lo and behold, his cardiologist could not believe when they went back in and they did some comparative analysis, that blockage was gone and everything is operating like a normal, healthy heart. So very life-changing for him. And he has a beautiful story. And that brown hair is his own natural hair color. It came back and his hair got thicker too. But this lady here on the right is from Australia, Mandy. She starts out looking like grandma. She starts looking like the mom. I think she looks like, a college student now. She's just beautiful, but that's the same woman. And no surgeries, no invasive needles in her face, which is pretty great. This is just an example of age reversal vitality. I mean, you just look at her eyes and the energy, and you can just see she feels better. And then this is our really great friend, Marcy Preble. She's from Southern California. And she's really the whole reason why we're talking today. That website that we showed you, she is responsible for that because she was stage 3 of breast cancer, very aggressive, lymphoma, and skin cancer. Such the aggressive level of skin cancer that the doctor told her that is the type that never goes into remission. And if the other 2 cancers did not take her out, that skin cancer would. Well, her naturopath gave her 10 of these X39 patches. Rhonda is her name. And Marcy on day 3 started having chemo response coming out through her mouth. She was detoxifying. Day 7, it started breaking out all over her back, which was a really good thing. And that scares us sometimes when things start to come out through our skin and detoxify. but very, very life-changing for her because her fast-growing cells, she's fully in remission now, and look at how much more beautiful she is. So 2019, that was the culmination of chemo and radiation for her. She wasn't feeling so great, and she didn't really want to be in this world anymore. But look at her after 4 years. I mean, she looks younger and younger all the time. Energy, oh my goodness, heart of gold. She'd give you the shirt off her back, and she does routinely, let me tell you. She's just that kind of lady. This is collagen, hyaluronic acid. You can see the tightening. Some of us might refer to the nut lines in that jawline and the neck and, the turkey neck effect. It tightens. And that's after 30 days. Can you imagine after more time? But those varicose veins, of course, the veins are there. But when we start bringing back the collagen, it starts filling them in and hiding them. And look at the remodeling on this birthmark. I just can't imagine the difference in this guy's life and his confidence. And this is a pretty remarkable skin repair. And look at the difference in this man after 1 year. He is truly, and Cami and I debated. I said, that can't be the same guy. But she told me, absolutely, it's the same guy. And I think she's right. But wow, what a difference. Hormone regulation. This is 6 weeks, this lady, and I had with all my hormonal imbalances leading to my terrible, terrible menopause. I so wish I'd had these patches when I was in junior high and high school because I was always covering up and wanting to stay home from school on a bad skin day like that, but I couldn't. But look at this fellow with his hair. That's just 5 weeks. That collagen starts to really get that hair growing. That's for me, the aha moment I had, I have to tell you, because Eric is very, very skeptical, my husband. He got these for his spinal fusion back pain because his surgery wasn't healing. And after 2 weeks of him being on these patches, we went skiing 3 days in a row at Christmas in Utah with my dad. So he was somewhat of a believer, but it was just too good to be true. And when I started using them, I just couldn't really, be certain that these patches were what was doing it until my hairstylist told me that I had more new hair starts all over my head, more than she'd ever seen in 30 years of doing hair. So that was a pretty cool thing. I was a big believer then. I went, okay, I can't tell my hair to do that. I don't think it was a placebo. I think these are really real. And what I know now, of course, these are real. But this is a really cool thing because this is better than Botox. You don't need to go and subject yourself to, toxins to have pretty, beautiful skin. You can just use Mother Nature's power of light and let your skin do what it's going to do. So huge differences here. Patching for pets. And these originally were used by some equine coaches, a lot of racehorses. They'd pull a ligament or tendon. You'd have a very, very expensive horse. They didn't want to put him out to pasture. So they'd start using the Icewave patches. And Cami will go more into specifics on the patches here in just a minute. But the Icewave for humans is the same, that they had to rebrand it for the horses. And they then started using them on animals, cats, dogs. This dog on the left here is Brutus, my very dear friend Terry's dog. And our kids went to kindergarten and he was a puppy. And I knew this guy would have arthritis. So when she got the patches, I said, Terry, don't throw away your old patches. I think you should put him in Brutus's bed or tape him on the inside of his pet collar because they might help him have a better life, less pain if he has arthritis. I hear all these dogs that used to be arthritic and they're jumping around and they want to chase the ball again like puppies. And I said, I'd even heard of a blind dog in Japan that sees again. Well, this is Brutus, blind. I didn't know he went blind from diabetes. And he has complete vision back. That difference, you can see that left eye there, no pupil, and that's a cataract, all frosted, right? That's when he was blind. The one on the right is a pupilled eye with the normal brown colorization. And that was in 1 week. We couldn't believe it. We were in Utah with my dad the day she called me. That was December 28th on the right, December 21st on the left. We both cried. We couldn't believe it. That's when I realized, whoa, we really got to start sharing these with people because this is life-changing stuff. But there's nothing more life-changing than what it can do for the brain. And if Eric was in here, he would give you his dad's testimony, but I'll share it with you because my father-in-law is very smart, hilarious, jovial man that started the company that Eric runs. And he was diagnosed with rapid onset Alzheimer's. We noticed at Christmas he was very quiet, wasn't really talking. He would nod yes and no and not a lot more. And when I realized my brain came back quickly and he got that diagnosis, I became an investigator and I started listening to all sorts of doctors talk. And I reached out to that Dr. Harmon. I sent him an email and I asked his advice. What would you do for my father-in-law, rapid onset Alzheimer's? And as a very good doctor, he told me, well, I can't make any medical recommendations, Tracy. We don't do diagnosis here. And he was emailing this. He said, but if that were my dad, what I would do is I would use, and he gave me the patches that we needed to use. And 3 months later, we met them at church. He was way down the aisle and he's, well, he waves over to us, Eric, Tracy, we're up here. And Eric and I looked at each other and we're like, oh my gosh, he said our names, like he knows who we are. And then he went on to introduce us to the people that they've sat with for the last 30 years and told us where they lived, and our jaws dropped. And then when we went to brunch after, he was flirting with the waitresses and telling them jokes. And I said, Eric, I think your dad is back. And I was like, do you think it's the patches? We just didn't really know. Could it really be? Could it happen that quick? But 5 months later, I mean, full memories, 30, 40-year-old memories, and the humor. But the reality is our brains start aging around 30. That's Mother Nature's bell curve. Age 30, 35, we start that decline. We begin losing about 9,000 neurons a day. And we are making some new ones, 2 to 4,000 a day, depending on your metabolic rate and your activity level. But when you start using these patches, they have the ability to make some very big differences in brains. And it helps with reducing brain inflammation. And what you see here with that session 1, the circles, this is a brain mapping study that they did with a number of people. This particular lady, 77-year-old lady with dementia, and where you see orange and red, that's inflammation in her brain. So that is putting swelling on the blood vessels responsible to carry blood and nutrients and oxygen to keep that brain vibrant and healthy and sharp. But when you have inflammation on that brain, you have cognition impairment. And she participated in this study. This is a heat mapping EEG, by the way. We're looking down on that brain. And session 2 is the first 3 weeks that she'd been on X39. So the body, again, the patches didn't do this. It's signaling the body to do what it's designed to do, but it took that inflammation out of that brain. That brain becomes a colder brain. It's not a perfect brain yet, but it's in process and the body's working on it. But session 3 is at the culmination of 6 weeks. And look at that beautiful brain, because that's a perfectly balanced brain. That lady no longer has dementia, because when you start getting that blood flow back in, it can regenerate and does some really great things. And it's that GHK copper peptide really responsible for a lot of that repair that you're seeing there. So life-changing, and that happened for my father-in-law too, and myself, and several other people I've shared it with. Pretty exciting. But I tell you, I've been kind of using my whole family as a guinea pig, not in a bad way, but I've just been learning through them, because this company just cannot educate and advertise the way that we would hope they could, so we could get the most out of it. That's why we're doing what we're doing tonight for you. But copper, I found this online. GHK copper peptide, what we're talking about, has the ability to break down fat cells. And I'm going to quickly share with you this gut regeneration system that has really changed our lives in our family, because this has the ability to help your gut imbalances. It detoxifies, it reduces inflammation, it helps balance your endocrine system, so that's your hormones, helps control your cravings through the hypothalamus, and you use this system in cycles. So we'll show you here in a minute. You're moving these patches around in different positions for 18 days. This is the doctor I first learned this from. She's a metaphysician, and she's looking at the root cause of imbalance in the body, and she treats a lot of mental issues through the gut. She'd been using diet and supplements for years, and she lost 33 inches herself using these 4 patches on her stomach for 18 days. So enter my bonus daughter, Angie. And this is her at our beach house last August. And she's had a lot of gut issues. She's had her appendix and her gallbladder out. She's also always been an insomniac, which is not good and leads to more complications in the gut and the toxicity level when you don't sleep. And she was not her best. She was struggling with depression and anxiety, and she just was having a hard time, and she kept throwing up, or so she thought. She kept telling me she had the flu. And I said, well, come stay with me at the beach. I'm here. I'll take care of you. What we realized is she really had GERD. If you know what that is, gastroesophageal reflux disease. Her stomach was overproducing acid and mucus to protect her body. Um, so I said, hey, I have all these patches. I just learned from this doctor as I was driving here today. Do you want to try this? Tomorrow we could start it. She's like, oh, please, I'm desperate. Let's do it. So we put those 4 patches on her stomach above the belly button the first day, and she stopped throwing up. That was exciting. The next day we moved those patches, new ones. You wear these 12 hours on, 12 hours off. And we put new 4 patches around the belly button. And she started stinking really bad. And she took a couple showers that day, and she's like, oh my gosh, I smell. Well, that's toxins coming out through her skin. That wasn't a bad thing. But by day 3, she started sleeping. She had more energy. And at the end of 18 days, this picture in the middle in those skinny jeans is this same girl. I wouldn't have believed it. And I'm not, one of those to, chop off her head, but she was doing her own selfie video. She was spinning around to show me, look, I'm in the jeans I haven't worn for 5 years. But this is her in last December. She has gone on to do that gut regeneration system twice, and she's now down 70 pounds. But more importantly, this is not about diet and vanity. This is about brain health, gut health, and sleep. And it's helped her lessen her anxiety, her depression. She has mental focus and so much more confidence. She's just a changed lady. So this is my point where I'm going to turn this over to Cami, and I'll let her share some cool stuff with you about the products.
Hello. Yeah, so this company has been it was presented to me as a possible, probable God thing, and it surely has been for me in my life, and has been a wonderful opportunity to share in something that I just cannot stop talking about. And obviously, a bunch of people around the country and around the world also are feel the same as me. This company shot off like a rocket when the stem cell activation patches came out in 2018 and 2019. It's well over 100-fold more in sales than it was before the stem cell activation patches came out. So we're just at the beginning of the launch of a rocket ship that I can't say enough good things about this company. They are growing, and there's still a huge market for what this is. So happy to share it. I can't not. So we have many different patches, and that's on the next slide, right, Trace?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it not letting you adjust them?
No, I can't.
Okay. Okay. All right. You just give me
Yeah.
the cues. So,
You're sharing your PowerPoint, so I need you to be my Vanna.
oh, that's right. Okay. Sorry. Sorry.
So we have about 10 different patches. I honestly haven't counted. The X39 is the flagship product. That is the one that came out in 2018. And that is the one that causes your body to make the GHK copper peptide. And when that copper peptide is present, that's amazing. That's what Tracy was just sharing from slides and photos and things. Mostly was the effects of the X39. The X49 is another stem cell activation patch, but it helps provide, together with the X39, it helps provide protection from electromagnetic fields, and it's super helpful. It also releases, instead of pluripotent stem cells, it releases specialized stem cells that are found in your brain and nervous system, your heart, cardiovascular system, your muscles, and your bones. So it does help build lean muscle mass. The retail prices for these stem cell activation patches is $149 for a 30-day supply.
There are 30 patches in all of these envelopes that I'll be telling you about. But in the next page, we'll tell you about some that have a 2-patch system. So that would be 15 applications. But for the most part, it is a month's supply of all of these patches. And that's still $149 for what they do. It sounds like a screaming deal to me, but we love to help people get better pricing than that. Especially when stem cells are so, like, if you were to get PRP or somebody else's cord blood stem cells, we're talking thousands of dollars. So this seems pretty amazing, affordable, approachable, and a whole lot less painful in many ways. These are some of our support patches. The Eon works amazingly beautiful with the X39. And that one is, it helps reduce inflammation. Again, remember, these patches are just stimulating the body with different frequencies of light. They're each reflecting your own body light back at different frequencies. So the Eon causes your body to make its own anti-inflammatory. And then the carnosine causes your body to make actually carnosine. It's the patch doesn't have carnosine in it. Again, it's just allowing your body to see a frequency of light, and your body goes, I'm going to make cool stuff. And carnosine is very helpful for your brain. It is one of the things I was putting on Carla's brother, my Alan, after his anoxic brain injury. One of the things that Dr. Harmon recommended. It's very important for your heart, cardiovascular system, helps with bruising. It's pretty awesome. And it also helps detoxify your brain from aluminum. Icewave is a magical patching system. It's a 2-patch system. There'll be a white patch and a brown patch. When you find the right placement of these patches, it blocks or stops the pain message going from the nerves to the brain. It's magic when you can find the right placement. I can see it on people's faces. I ask them a few questions and I see it on their faces. That expression totally changes. And what a gift to be able to give someone naturally to help them. So glutathione is a major antioxidant. I didn't realize this, but our body needs a lot of it. Our body makes it, but we need to have the raw ingredients to make it, and the stimulus to do so. Glutathione is like your favorite trash man who comes and takes all the junk away from your household and your system. And so it literally helps your body detox from a lot of heavy metals. It goes after colds, viruses, bacteria. It attaches to those things and helps get them flushed out of your body, opens up pathways in your liver to detox. Energy enhancer is the granddaddy. In fact, I'm wearing my energy enhancers today. I've been up since 5 and I drove my couple hours down here and watched my grandbabies while my daughter had had an appointment, and I've been running ever since. And what a beautiful, sustained energy during the day. This is the first one that was made for the Navy SEALs. And I literally am burning an extra 300 to 600 calories today, just because my mitochondria see this light signal and they are using fat as fuel instead of carbs. I love that. SP6 causes your body, it says named after an acupuncture point called spleen 6. And it is very good for all kinds of internal organs, especially ones having to do with digestion and elimination. So your gut, your kidneys, your pancreas, everything benefits from SP6. And oh, by the way, it helps your thyroid and it helps your hypothalamus in the brain. If you have cravings or know someone who has an addiction to something, this can help them not have that addiction or feel more satiated. So it's super helpful. Silent nights causes your body to make melatonin, and that's being studied as a very strong antioxidant. As we know, we need that good night's sleep to be healthy. I have learned that we actually detox when we sleep, and melatonin could be a very key factor to that. And that's being studied. And AccuLife is marketed to animals. It is exactly the same thing as Icewave. It is marketed to animals because the Veterinary Association doesn't like us to market the same things to humans as to animals. And of course, we would never test things on animals as a company, but this was safely marketed to them. So retail for these supplementary patches or supportive patches are $79 for a 30-day supply, or for 30 patches. Like I said, the energy enhancers and the Icewave are 2-patch systems. So there are 15 applications in those ones. And then the preferred customer wholesale pricing for these patches is $69 for 1 pack, $59 if you order 2 at the same time, or $49 if you order 3 or more. And again, we can help you build a wholesale pack so that you get the most out of your money, and make sure your needs are met. Alavita is one of Tracy's favorites. And that is one of the things that helped her decalcify the pineal gland, which tends to happen as we age and our hormones start changing and shutting down and not producing what God intended us to produce. And everybody says, oh, it's early. Oh, you're doing this. Oh, it's, and this is a way that you can ensure that you're a little bit more hormone regulation and help decalcify the brain. It's also super helpful that's where your words live, in the front part of your brain. And this is incredible because it causes your body to make a peptide called epithalamine or epitalin. Dr. Harmon's next book is on this subject, and I can't wait to learn more about what it is, because he's now like suggesting it for different things that I'm really curious about. We know that it's really, really good for oxidative stress. It's really good for skin. It's really good for cartilage, collagen, and again, the frontal lobe of the brain. And it elongates your telomeres, which is kind of like the aglets on your shoelaces, and that they get shorter when you are in stressful times. They get shorter when you go through disease. They also go through, the different, sorry, I just got a reminder from Team Harmony that we're having a patch party. Here we are. So it elongates the telomeres that protect that recipe of your DNA. So it is truly reverse aging, because telomeres shortening are a sign of aging, and sometimes aging before you should be. So anyways, what's next? Okay. Alavita just came out with an eye cream. So we have a beautiful day cream, beautiful night cream. And the eye cream, actually, they've spent extra time on because apparently copper peptide doesn't like to mix with other ingredients that David Schmidt, our founder, wanted to have in there that are very important and regenerative to the skin, especially that tender eye area. So they worked really hard and created a formula that has the copper peptide in it, and it's beautiful. It's luscious. My son Keenan came home from Norway. He's been gone for 10 months. He's got some skin issues that happen when he stresses out. And I've been using that eye cream on him behind his ear and things. So it's been fabulous. And I can't wait. We've been sending people to Amazon, or every time you listen to David Schmidt talk about these products or talk about the patches and say, okay, this doesn't replace great nutrition. Make sure you have this in your diet. It wouldn't hurt to supplement with that. Make sure you have good quality supplements. Make sure, and you know, and I know that there's so many things that we may not, we could go to Amazon, we could go to the grocery store, we could go to the health food store, but we don't know if we're getting amazing quality. We don't always know about the quality of what we're putting in or how much to take. They are taking the guesswork out of that and creating a supplement, a daytime supplement that supports your body and to optimize use of the day patches, and then a nighttime supplement that helps your body optimize the use of the night patches. I cannot wait for this. And lastly, coming out, we will learn more about this in October at our convention. But David Schmidt has created a brand new invention. And in the testing of this, he does Bible study inspired, and he does all kinds of watching nature, and he calls it biomimetics. He has been studying organisms that live for a very, very long time and what regenerates them. And so what he has been experimenting with, actually what he has created, is a fantastic brand new metal. And apparently proximity to the skin is important, and it absolutely, I can't wait to hear more. So that's what we know. So please, please, please get back with the person who invited you to this call, and then they can help you build that pack. And of course, if you have questions that aren't answered by us, then or by the person who invited you, or if it's us, of course, call us or text us, and we're happy to help you build this pack. So our favorite is the silver kit for one person. And that one, you can get 3 packs of X39. And that's, as you notice, that's your wholesale pricing, and there's no fee there. Or we can mix and match. We can get 1 pack of X39 and up to 5 packs of all of the others. The gold kit is again, a one-time price. We help you build that pack, and that you get not just 5 X39s. They also will throw in like a free support pack, or we get to mix and match. Again, we get to build it. There's several different kits to choose from. I recommend the platinum or the diamond kit to practitioners, or someone who really is like, I want to start this business with a bang, and I want to have lots of product on hand so people can buy it from me and try it. Anyways, it's a great way to start your business with a bang if you can. And then of course, we recommend that you use this patch 1 month for every decade that you've been alive. It is, just as you didn't feel cellular activity of the, at the cellular level to decline over the years, we want to give these patches the chance to work and rebuild your systems and restore you. But it will take some time. We do have one patch wonders. We do have people who feel, like we've heard tonight, feel within short order much, much better. But we want to get you back to optimum health. And so anyways, does anybody have any questions? Oh yes, there's a 30-day money back guarantee. Oh, the podcast schedule. Okay, so there is a website that you can go to, and it is called thepatchingpodcast.com. And I'll type that in the chat. Or if you're not on your phone and you have your phone handy, you can scan that code, but it's the
can do it.
patchingpodcast.com. I'm almost there. And then almost every night of the
You're fast.
week, and then almost every night of the week, there's something going on. My favorite is Tuesday night at 5 p.m. Dr. Stacy is an integrative doctor. She's got a couple different degrees. She's amazing. And she interviews other doctors on this call. But then there's other things like tomorrow, there's another patching party put on by someone very high in our upline, Marcy. We saw her pictures where she was dealing with fast growing cells or cancer, and her journey. You get to hear from her, and she's very generous. Usually about 4 or 5 people win whole packs of patches at this event, and they get shipped to them. And again, it's a wonderful event. So there's every night of the week, there's something to learn from. We also have access to an app where we can search people's stories. And these podcasts are when those stories are told. And then they're documented and logged. So look what we have upcoming. So every Tuesday night, Tracy and I are doing these patch events on Zoom. So please invite your friends. Every Wednesday night, our afternoon at 4 p.m. Pacific time, Marcy does a patch event, different Zoom link. And then on Thursday, May 2nd, we will actually be at Tracy and Eric's home in Buckley. And please, you're welcome to come to that. Invite a friend. There's always something. I learn something every time. So it never gets old. I did. I figured out what I want to be when I get older. Younger. I love that. We stole that from Dr. Harmon. Does anybody have any questions for us? We would love to answer.
I do. I have people that are now retired, and they've never had tons of money, and of course they get government support now in their retirement funds, and so $300 might be a stretch for them. I noticed early on you were mentioning a sleeve cost way below that. You were talking about having one sleeve. So I'm wondering, how can people who struggle financially, I mean, how do you help them to purchase something like this so they can, at least purchase something, but they may not be able to afford the silver kit, for instance.
Absolutely. Let me share my screen. There are quite a few different patching or wholesale packs that we can offer. So the lowest, as you notice, we could sell somebody a pack of X39 retail for $149. For $25, that would give them the opportunity to purchase the packs at wholesale pricing. So it's like buying yourself a Costco membership, right? So for $25, so if you do the math with me, 25, and then you can buy the pack at 99, it's a lot less money than $149.
We're just doing questions.
And that's only the $25 one-time fee. That's it.
So what do you mean by one-time fee?
That's if the person pays $25 and they do at least one order a year, that they never have to pay that $25 again.
Wow. So what do
Just
they
keep
pay?
selected.
What-
And one thing to think about on this, Patty, is,
Yes.
the $300 might seem like a lot of money, but that's not every month. And you really need, in the beginning, we talked today about inflammation. Inflammation is the root cause of most of our health issues, but it also eats your stem cells. So if you really need to use the Eon and the X39 together to begin to get the best benefit of them, if you're only doing that bronze and you just get that X39, it's going to take a lot longer for your body to get to the optimum balance and the homeostasis. But if you did that $300, you could get 2 X39 and 2 Eon. That would get 2 months. So if you break that down, that's $150 a month. to get inflammation under control and get stem cells reactivating, that's a pretty good value.
And
So-
something to think about too, is that I don't know how much people spend on prescription drugs and things like that, but I do recommend that people work closely, because I've had clients who are able to get off of different medications that they're on. So whatever those costs are, they won't necessarily have those costs over time. So they're trading something healthy and helping their body actually regenerate and reducing the need for a lot of different things.
What if their prescriptions are paid for and their food allowance for the month is $300? Do they go without food and wear the patch?
No, I mean, obviously we love to help work with people. Like, no, we don't want to help anybody. I mean, not eat, of course, but, but creatively, we do want to help people, get on these patches. And maybe it's, if they can help us, come up with the $25, and then we help them invite their friends, and maybe together the friends help and decide, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. And right then they're able to build a little tiny business just by sharing the patches with their friends, and that helps pay for their patches. So we just like to work with people creatively and not, of course, not go into debt doing this, but I tell you what, it's life-changing. It literally is when there's no hope.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask Judy, did that answer your question, Judy?
Yes, yes, in some ways, yeah.
Does anybody else have any questions we can answer?
Yeah, of course, I asked that because I have a brother that I just adore. I adore my brother, and he has Parkinson's, but yet he gives his shirt off his back for people all the time. And so unfortunately, he just doesn't have a lot of extra money. And so I'm trying to, like you said, I'm going to start with me first, and hopefully you can educate me how to help people like my brother,
Absolutely. That's been
Yeah,
a joy and an
yes.
honor to walk alongside people with limited incomes, because it seems to be those are the people that need it the worst. And
Yes.
and I absolutely, Carla and I are working with somebody whose brother, isn't that odd, Carla? So when she gave a testimony last week on the same call last week, and her brother, who has Parkinson's,
Wow.
and been using the patches, and he's now able to go to exercise class where he wasn't before.
Wow. So how much money did he have to invest to get those healing patches?
I think, well, obviously every human is different, so we can't say how long every body is going to be different, right? So we have searched our tool, we have a Telegram app, and we've searched our tool, and there are 17 stories of people with Parkinson's, and their symptoms improving. But every story is going to be a different amount of time and different patches. So, we can't predict, but we can probably give some hope, and that brother sister combo in Idaho, when were we there last, Carla? It's been like a month or 6 weeks. It really hasn't been long. Carla, you're muted, hon.
I know so my father-in-law, he had the Alzheimer's, which is very similar to Parkinson's. We saw a big difference in him at 90 days.
Okay, like, for instance, I'm having memory problems. So when do you think I'll start seeing the difference?
Well, that brain study that we showed you with the circles, that's a 6-week And there's, if you go to that section on the website, I really encourage you to go to that, Patty, and look at all of those others. There's, you know, there's yoga instructors, there's an acupuncture doctor, there's all sorts of people that participated, but you can see a huge change in the composition of their brain in 6 weeks. All of those people did that study only for 6 weeks, and they all have a changed brain. I'm not saying you're going to be, 100% of where you want to be, but you're going to notice a difference for sure. I would say about a month for me. I was like, whoa, I'm remembering things. The words are coming back, and I'm not embarrassed to talk anymore. And I'd say 2 months in for me, I had all sorts of people saying, oh my gosh, what are you doing? You're different. I mean, the girls at work just couldn't get over the changes in me.
Yeah,
So
be the
it-
Carnelson patch.
The Carnison's patch, she's asking.
yeah, the carnosine.
Is that the one that
Carnosine.
did? So there are different patches for different areas you want to improve in.
Yes, and they're all
Yes.
beneficial, and that's why we will seek help with,
So are they $149.99 for the different types of patches?
the stem cell activation patches, which would be the X39 and the X49. The retail price for those is $149 for a 30-day supply. And then all of the other patches that we talked about are, the retail is $79 for a 30-day supply or 30 patches. And then the wholesale prices are 20 or
I'm gonna go grab that.
69 for one, 59 for
Mhm.
two, or 49 for three or more. And when you buy a wholesale pack, that's why we liked that the $300 pack is getting you all patches with no fees at the lowest price. But like you said, we could spend $25 and get you a wholesale account with no patches. And then you decide what patches you want to buy.
So
But
at the
like-
bottom, I'm sorry, it says at the bottom of this screen, under the diamond kit at the very bottom, it says, then order a monthly subscription for at least X39 to keep your stem cells activating.
For
Yes.
$99.95.
Yes. And that's that. So we're offering the wholesale pricing, because in any of these scenarios, if you buy a wholesale kit, or if you buy the $25, it's like I said, the best way I can describe it is like buying a Costco membership, $25 one-time fee, then you have access to the wholesale pricing. And that gives, and like I said, the X39 is the minimum that we would recommend for activating those stem cells for $99.95. And you do 1 month for every decade you've been alive. But literally, like, most people feel